Okay, guys and gals, welcome to my channel. As you guys have been asking in the comments below, well, today is the day that I do the review of the SSR SR300S. You guys been asking, so now I've had this bike for 1 year. I've used it, and let's talk about the pros and the cons, and just kick back and enjoy. Again, welcome guys and gals to the channel, and it's all about motorcycle rides and reviews, and we are again going to review the dirt bike that I purchased back in 2023 of November. This is a 2022 SSR 300S, and yes, the reason why many people probably are skeptic and why it sat there for a year, and that's why I'm making this video, is because, you know, they're unsure about getting a Chinese brand dirt bike. Is it worth it? Is there's going to be things breaking, or is there going to be just a lot of issues with getting a bike even though that it's cheaper? So we're going to talk about that, and I want to make sure that everybody knows right off the bat, there is no sponsored by SSR. No, I have not been asked by them. I would like to work with them. I mean, they have a 450 and they have another one that's smaller, and I would love to be able to compare it and do videos, but again, no endorsement, not getting paid by them. So this is to you guys. If you guys would like me to do that, I'd be more than happy to represent the product and day of its life.
Oh, go figure. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
Have some fun with it. But other than that, let's go ahead and dive into this bike, and yeah, is it worth it? Okay, you guys might be thinking right off the bat, wow, this is kind of dirty.
I'm dying. Help me.
Why would you have a video about that? Well, because I ride the bike, and I wanted to make sure that you guys and gals kind of see that, yes, you know, the chain has been used. There's a little bit of mud. If you have not seen my last video, I did on my little mini track out here. I did ride, and I wanted to kind of keep it a little bit of dirty because why not, right? But let's go ahead and talk about the bike itself. One thing I have to say, having the bike in itself, when you look at it, you would think, well, is it maybe an SSR, their own version of a dirt bike, right? Like, they're very known for having pit bikes, but is this like some off made up type of frame, plastics and so forth? No, this is actually a 2016, I'll put it side by side, 2016 CRF 250F. You guys can see it right here. So basically, this bike is identical to a Honda. Same frame, same plastics, a little bit of minor different things are here at this connector. But one of the things that gives it a telltale that why it's the same, notice that it looks like there should be another exhaust right here. So imagine two dual exhausts. So obviously SSR got a patent or whatever, but that's why this bike, first and foremost, looks so beautiful. It's a Honda. It's a 2016 Honda. So there you go. And yeah, let's go ahead now and start talking about the bike itself, kind of what I've enjoyed, what I've not enjoyed, and yeah, let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that you guys and gals might be really thinking about. Is it worth the price? Is this basically a lemon? Is there going to be a lot of issues and so forth?
It comes from China.
So let me just go ahead and cut right to the chase. So far, what I have noticed is, yes, it does have some cheapness to it. I'll talk a little bit more about it, but like the plastics, they do feel a little bit more cheap, like buying a cheaper off-brand. Other than factory plastic, it feels like that. I did have an issue with the actual like protective starting on it. You had to pull the clutch in for it to start, and when I put on these hand guards, I noticed that I tightened up one of the bolts too much and it broke that connection. I was able to fix it. Watch the video. I'll put the link in the description below if you want to see that. One of the other issues that I am not a fan on, and right now I'm kind of playing it off, is, as you can see, but this right here, this is a stand. It actually is extremely level, but the frame is not really flat. So, you know how the bottom of the frame is just kind of a little bit round, so it teeters extremely easy on a stand. I don't like that. That's kind of a pain in the neck to work on, especially when you're adjusting the rear tire, doing anything. You almost have to plant the tire on the back. It's, you know, not the best of the best on that one. And obviously the biggest issue that a lot of people talk about this bike is it being carbureted. So let's go ahead and talk about that for a second. Basically, again, myself, I've been riding dirt bikes for 40 years, over 40 years.
You're old.
So I grew up with a carbureted bike. Now this type of style carburetor reminds me of, and I think I'll put on the correction below, a 2004, I think it's 2004, 2005 when Yamaha came out with their 400F. That was a carbureted, not fuel injected 4-stroke. It reminds me kind of that nature, but at the same time, remember that bike was absolutely phenomenal. Doug Henry, one of my absolute all-time favorite riders next to Jeremy McGrath, you know, Doug had that bike and he did phenomenal on it. So obviously you can tweak the carburetor to make it work. This is a stock carburetor. So we'll get that right off the bat. It is a stock carburetor. I know it would perform better if I did have a better one, but upgraded ones are like up to $500 to $600 for a new carburetor. I'm broke. Until I'm making money on YouTube, I'm not getting that type of carburetor unless somebody wants to promote, and I will then advertise. If you want to send the link and give me a hookup, I'd be more than happy to put it on the bike, and I will, for a good chunk of time, put your name on the bottom of as partnership or something of the nature of representing your carburetor. But nonetheless, what I did to fix the carburetor, let me show you. And so far I've had no issues with it ever since. Being that this is a carbureted, what I do is before I get to wherever I'm going track wise, or if I'm even going to go ride before I put my gear on, I turn the gas on, let the gas basically sit on for a little bit and let it go ahead and drip and fill up that bucket, get a lot of fuel in the carburetor. And then I go where I need to go, and by the time I get there, it's been left on the whole time. Old school, that would probably flood, but I've been having no issues with this specific carburetor doing that. Then when I get to the place where I'm going, we pump it a couple times. So I do about three or four. Then I go ahead and I start it, obviously with the choke on. But that pre-pumping of getting the gas in there has really helped basically with the bike starting and just kind of warming up. If it's a very cold day, like today it's around 50, it would probably take about 3 times for it to fire off. But when it's warmer, you only have to do that maybe once, or like, you know, 3 times doing it that way, maybe 2 times, and it will start up. But if it's really cold, you'll sometimes will have to try at least 4 times and then it will start up. But that's what I've noticed, and that's kind of one of the things that I've done to kind of kill the issues regarding the carburetor, just starting factor. The other thing I have done is this, I adjusted this valve here. This basically makes the idle go lower or higher. What I did is I just went ahead and I adjusted it to right now. That's why I like it at this setting. So when the bike starts at the beginning, it's fine, but when it fully is warmed up, it'll idle a little bit higher than normal. That is prevented then whenever I'm in the turns or I'm in a very slow turn or the bike is just coming, you know, I don't have to necessarily worry about pulling in the clutch so much. The bike can basically idle a little bit higher, keeps the gas going. So that bogging factor is really not there, at least again for this bike. I have now noticed that that has not been an issue. So since I have adjusted this a little bit higher, I've had no issues with it. Now obviously it still bogs here and there. Again, if I kept the RPMs higher and I was basically throttling it more, it wouldn't have so much of an issue. But again, compared to fuel injected, night and day. Fuel injection, 10 times better. The carbureted, still old school, but guys and gals, it works. So it's again up to you what you'd like to do, but there you go. Let's knock that out. It's not that big of a deal. The bike still runs, and we'll get into the other stuff. Okay, so some of you guys and gals might also be thinking, okay, well, is it really reliable? Well, I will tell you what I've experienced so far. Starter has been totally fine. 1 year, still has been missing a beat. The battery, when I'm not riding the bike, I keep it on a trickle charge, but the battery's been fine, hasn't been defaulting or no issues there. I haven't even blown the fuse on, the little like a preventative fuse that's right below the seat. I haven't even messed with that. You know, the buttons, all the buttons have actually been working just fine. I have heard in some of the comments, these buttons go bad. They've been just fine. But again, I do keep this garage kept. So, you know, but anyways, no issues there with that so far. The fan, that was one thing that I was noticing, kind of a little cool little update, you know, it just basically has a fan. So when the bike is hot, this fan turns on. It's still running, still doing what it needs to do. So good to go there. The engine itself. So many of you guys and gals might be concerned about the motor itself. Maybe, is it reliable? The 300, it's so much fun. So again, if you're not looking for the 450 pure power, this is a great motor for you. If you want a little bit more than a 250, it has it. So far, the clutch has been fine. The gearing has been fine. Everything has been working out great. If you notice, I have kept on the lever. I have not had to keep it off. In my original video, I took it off. Now I'm so used to it in riding position, there's no issues. Again, that was rider's error for me again. So I put it back on and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. So it's been great. SSR, and if you watch a video, but like, I think it's this guy right here. I think it's this guy. This drains the radiator fluid. The oil filters, there's one there. There's another one. I think it's this one. And then the main drain plug is there. It's actually, guys and gals, it's fine. I've been noticing none of the bolts have been rusting or breaking off. We've been good, dude. So yeah, engine does fine. I've had really no issues, and regular oil maintenance, we're doing good. All right, the other thing are these brakes. Now, the brakes themselves, I've noticed the rotor itself, not too bad. It does what it does. It's fine. The rear, for me personally, is not that good at all. I don't even really know the name of it, but it's, you know, it's there, it works. But even with the adjustments, I have it pretty tight with what it is, and even that, it really doesn't want to go. So personally, I don't like the back rear. Maybe to fix that would be change out for better padding. You know, maybe those pads that they give you are just garbage from the beginning. So maybe I need to upgrade that, no big deal. And then of course the front. The front, I've noticed, has been just fine actually. Whatever brand this is, I don't know what it is, but it's okay. You know, it does okay. But I have, again, I use more front brake than rear anyways, but there's my street bikeness, but it's okay. It does all right. I'm not going to give it horrible. The reservoir for it, the name of them, Mojo. I have no idea if that's good or bad, but it's okay. It does all right. And if you need to stop, it stops me. But it's, again, are we going to go on a Supercross and go ride against, you know, some of the pros? It wouldn't work as best like you think, but it does do the job. So I'm stoked about that. Let's talk about one thing that somebody did ask in one of the comments below is regarding the breathing. Does it really breathe? Now, I added these holes. There's a little diamond cutout on the inside, and I just went ahead and used a 1/4 inch, and I just drilled holes here, and I drilled holes here. Now, the reason why I did it, for the breathing of the carburetor, and again, the carburetor not being the best of the best, there's your breathing right there. That little slit. That's where it's supposed to technically take in air. Now, notice here, there's really no take in at all. But over here, there it is right there. That little gap. So Yeah, I added that. Now, since I have noticed it's been way better. But again, that might just be psychological. I don't know. I recommend at least get something into that for right now until they fix maybe more air coming in this way, like if that was a bigger. But it does the job. I don't like the fact, maybe this is just a Honda design, but just to get to the air filter, you have to take off the battery completely, and then you gotta like get to the filter. I don't like it. Maybe that's just Honda. I'm not used to that, but whatever. It does what it does. But since I'm right here and I'm talking about certain things, let me show you one of the things that I think was kind of weird, but again, maybe it's just me. Like, this is a 10 millimeter take off the seat, right? But then it goes to Allen. Now these are the same size Allens until you go right here. So I forgot what size that is. I think that's maybe 8. I don't know, but that's much smaller. Normal, 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 and then you got small. So again, you can fix that by just, you know, replacing these guys. They have ones that you can get them, make them like red or something like that, which is totally cool. But you know, make them all the same size. But again, stock, it does fine. I've not noticed any of these bolts coming off or breaking off, or even while I'm taking off things, I've adjusted stuff. Nothing has broken. The triple clamp hasn't moved, hasn't broke. The front handlebar, I just replaced it. And one thing that I think in my video, not even my little clamps bent when my son did break it. I was expecting the clamps to kind of bend a little bit, because you know, sometimes when you just dump it, those can just be taken just a little bit and you have to replace them. Guys and gals, they've been just fine. So those are good. The the hardware for the clutch and the front brake has been great. The clutch, let's talk about the clutch really quick. The clutch, being that it's a clutch line, you know, just straight cable line, it's been fine. It's a little tough. I am going to change the way I have this. I am going to put back that button over here and make this a little bit further that way. This is just too much. I am so used to just doing 2 fingers. I don't like the fact that it's covering that much of that handlebar. But that's just me. But for the clutch itself, clutch has been just fine. It's not too soft, it's not too tight. It does great. So I've had no issues there. And let's really quick talk about the kickstand. Very convenient that it has a kickstand, especially when you're in the middle of nowhere and you're trying to film. This has been fantastic. So for me, I think I have to replace this whole mechanism if I want to chuck it and just make it just a regular peg. But having the kickstand, I've been fine with it. And you know what? This has not come flying down in the middle of a jump. I've been like that or whatever. It has stayed up the whole time riding it. So we've been good there. If you look on the bottom here, let's just talk about that. The little guard here, even that I think it's aluminum, you know, I've beaten it pretty good. You can see in how it's gotten a couple good scrapes, and so far, guys and gals, is doing good. The sprocket, it reminds me of a knockoff rental, and it's been doing fantastic. I think it's 42 teeth? I keep forgetting. I had the name on it. It's a T6, but I forgot. 48 teeth, that's it, never mind. It's a 48 teeth. It's been great. So like regarding the gearing system, just what stock is here, 48 teeth, and I think, is this 11? I can't quite remember. I think it might be 11, but the gearing ratio works just great. So I've had no issues whatsoever. And let's just cover last thing really quick is the seat. Again, buying a cheaper bike,
Not at all. It comes from China. That's why.
You would expect maybe the seat, the stitching to start coming loose. And so far, guys and gals, it has been just fine. I've had no issues with the stitching. The seat is actually extremely comfortable. It's not too soft, it's not too hard. So it's done great there. I, of course, have had to replace grips. The last grips I had are absolutely way too soft and they're garbage and hate them with all passion. Other than that, guys and gals, I'm really trying to think of what else I can talk about regarding the part wise. Oh, radiator really quick. Ugh. Okay, as I already mentioned before, that drain plug, very convenient to drain out the radiator. Now, what I did personally is I chucked whatever they put in this motorcycle dealer, I chucked it. It was horrible. It was actually making the bike run hotter. So I chucked it and I put in the best coolant recommended by SSR. I put it in. Since I have done that, I have noticed this bike has ran so much cooler. So I recommend, again, chuck, get better coolant. Even this coolant, you can kind of see it's like blue. Just chuck it. Also the spark plug, I put in a better spark plug. It's been running better ever since then. And also the oil, obviously I recommend good oil. Don't just put garbage into it. And obviously, you know, I think I probably have maybe, I want to say maybe 10 hours on this bike, maybe. I mean, I can't quite know how much, but it's been enough that I've changed the oil technically 3 times in 1 year. So, you know, and again, not like I go riding huge motocross days and, you know, doing all that, but there you go. That's kind of what I've done so far with the bike, and yeah. Okay, guys and gals, I think the only thing else I can kind of address or talk about with the bike itself is, again, does it feel cheap? Does it feel like it's not a dirt bike? And the easiest thing that I can tell you guys and gals is actually it does feel like a real dirt bike. All right, all right, all right. It does just fine. I've noticed maybe it might feel a little heavier, and I think maybe because it's an older frame style and with the technology, but again, it's not like I went on some other guys' bikes and it felt extremely the same. So for somebody that just got back into it but used to old school heavier 250 2-strokes, and then the last actually 4-stroke I had was a Honda 650, and I can put a clip on that right there. That was my last bike I had. I'm used to heavier bike styles, but this bike doesn't necessarily feel that way. In the cornering and riding in itself, it's a comfortable bike. It's not, it's, again, it reminds me like a Honda. So it's not like a Yamaha. Yamaha's a little bit longer frame. Suzuki and Kawi a little bit shorter. Honda's really short. This feels like a Honda. It's a little bit shorter frame, but feels a little bit more centered to the ground. But again, the bike does fine. So, you know, would I go take it to go do stupid 90-foot, you know, triples, or go do a 150-foot gap? No, I'm not going to do that anyways, because no. And anybody who had a stock bike with their not their suspension done went to go hit a 150-foot gap on a stock bike, you guys and gals are already knowing what the outcome is going to be on that one. So yeah, for if you want a bike that's good on just general trails, go take it at the local motocross place, or you just want to have a dirt bike and just tear it up and have a good time. So far, the SSR has been doing great. It's reliable. It's started every single time. I've had no issues other than the one with regarding the safety, and I bypassed that. And yeah, other than that, guys and gals, for a dirt bike, it does pretty good.